computer. Yeah, so sorry to break that whole flow, but this is good. It's really, really good. And I think as we're helping each other, we can help others in the Sistrenpreneur space. So just continue on. Who did we not hear from? Marianne and Kalia.
I just thought it was interesting when the directions, how confused the guy running was getting as to what it is he needed to do next. And as entrepreneurs, we do sometimes get in our heads and get kind of confused as to what that next step is.
Yeah, that whole direction. Should I go right or left? There are many, many different paths that we could take. Which one is going to be the right one? Absolutely. Kalia?
So for me, it was the are you sure moment. You know, the like, am I really doing the right thing? Like, none of this makes any sense around me. And then the running towards a destiny or completion that doesn't look like it's in sight. Or there's no sense that, you know, the building that you're running to or the person you're running after, whatever it is even in sight. That's another thing. I think maybe it's just the uncertainty of it. And then also the moment when he stopped and you know, he was like, you said right or left. And, you know, he's like, he picked up the chair and he throws it through the glass. It's like, that's, everybody has like a glass wall moment where you're like, am I gonna throw this chair or am I gonna make it through this? Or I don't even see a way out of this. So that was kind of what I noticed.
That's definitely a powerful part, right? That whole shattering of the thing that is holding us, that stronghold, as we would call it. How do you approach that? Do you just kind of, you know, and you, especially in Bible speaking, we'll just wait on the Lord. And but sometimes you do have to take aggressive action, right? And he gives us the tools. There were all these people standing around, and the lady, she gave him the tool with which to do something really assertive and break through. So those are really awesome points that you got. Thank you.
May I say one more thing?
Sure.
So the whole time I'm watching this, I'm thinking about none of the actions that he's taking are actions that I would have taken because it was all off script. I can't see the destination at all. Somebody's telling me that the destination is there or the target is there, but I can't see it. And so my natural reaction would have been, well, find the ground and run along where the guy is actually running. But he's completely out of alignment with where the person is. And the second thing is, after shattering that window, it was this jumping off into nothingness. We are taking this leap of faith constantly into the nothingness, into the void, praying that you're going to land on something. And yes, also, am I going to shatter my leg once I make the leap? Am I going to die once I make the leap? Am I going to be immobilized once I make the leap? So yeah, make the leap. But how am I going to be able to move forward after I have made the leap? Wow. And that for me was more engaging, more thought-provoking than even the idea of being constantly in motion, because you can be constantly in motion, but in a safe path. But it's once you take off the security that you're actually moving against the current that's going to actually hold you back. So
Yeah. I mean, the definition of being an entrepreneur is, it's not that you're a business person or those are the things that come to mind. But an entrepreneur is a risk taker. It's someone who takes risks, sometimes on the daily. So if you can keep that in the front of your mind as you think, I am a Sistrenpreneur, I am a solopreneur, I am an entrepreneur, I am someone that take risks. Some may be calculated, some not maybe so much, you know, but we are those people that we take the leap of faith. We step into the nothingness, and once you step, all of a sudden there's a whole city in front of you, right? So awesome. Anyone else had anything else to add to that? Okay. So what we're going to do, this was meant to be breakout sessions, right? But it's just us. It's not that many of us. So I think that maybe we can just stay in the same space, or you tell me. I want to get a poll from you. Would you prefer to break out into two? I will have the opportunity to jump from room to room, 2 rooms. It just, you know, whatever you say, I'm good. Since it's just the 5 of us.
I'm fine with just staying here with the 5.
Okay. So with that, what we're gonna do is just reflect, take a moment, and I thought I was gonna have some mood music. I didn't download that yet or pull it up. So we're gonna just take some time, a few minutes, and think about these questions. I would like for you to brainstorm answers in your notes, in your notebook, if you need to. And then after your time is up, we're going to just give opportunity to share just one thing from each of these questions. Because if we start answering all of these, that will be our entire time together, right? So just look at this and think about 2022. 2022. What made you happy or feel good or made you smile or makes you smile even now when you think about 2022? And it could be professional, entrepreneurial, or personal. And then what made you sad, angry, frustrated? Also, this question about what did you achieve? And then what were some things that you did that you know, it just was it stole your time. It was unproductive. It didn't even, you're still trying to figure out, why did I even do this? And then the last one, if you could, what is the one thing you would change from 2022? So do you need me to continue to share screen, or you have it? You're muted. I know you're talking.
I'm sorry. I want to be able to keep these things
In front of you? Okay.
um but I mean,
Okay, that's fine. I am going to try to figure out how I can get all of us on the screen as I do this. Okay. Yeah,
All
so
right.
as we reflect on 2022, and we're looking at these questions, what would you say, Marianne?
So there's a lot of things that make me happy. But spending time with friends and family is the most important of them all, because that's to me what life's about, is about relationships and making them laugh, and having a good time. That's kind of important to me. The second one, I chose frustration out of all of those, was the hurricane.
Hmm.
That was very hard, and not just because the impact on me was nothing, but watching others having to go through what they go through, um, that and not being able to do much about it, not being in a position to help. Um, it gets kind of frustrating, and I felt bad too for all those that are still struggling with it. I mean, they seem to just want to keep throwing obstacles in people's paths to recover, and that doesn't seem fair. So what I achieved was I launched my marketing coaching program, and actually made money with it, which
Yeah.
so nowhere near my goal, but hey, it's a start, so that's on its way. The What was unproductive? So I have a habit of allowing things to pull me in like 6 million different directions, and not prioritizing. So sometimes meetings just to meet with people, um, where there's nothing coming out of it for either party, so I think going forward, I'm going to screen those a little bit better. Not that I don't want to meet them, but not keeping it to like 15 minutes,
Yeah.
as opposed to letting them go too long and they're trying to sell me something or something like that, so taking a little more control of those situations. And
Absolutely.
then you really can't go back and change anything. So I kind of reworded the question as to what's one thing I learned
Okay.
from that. And that's to focus more on time for me and things that I need to do for me, because I get pulled in 6 million different directions. You know, I don't always put myself first in some situations where I should. So those are my answers, and I'm sticking to it.
Nice, nice, nice. Kalia?
Oh my God. Like, where do I begin? So first of all, what makes me happy um, what I learned from 2022 that made me happy is that I think for the first time in my entire adult life, I spent an entire year being obedient to God.
Nice.
Oh, it's making me feel like I want to cry. I just spent a lot of time fasting, praying, and spending time in His Word. And I needed to do it. And even though I'm crying, it actually made me smile.
It's a happy cry.
It's a happy cry.
Yes.
It's funny because the other day I was driving down the road and I was thinking about that scripture where it says obedience is better than sacrifice. And the reason why obedience is better than sacrifice is because if you're not obedient, you will have to sacrifice. And so it just made me happy because I was on the right side of that. But that made me happy. What made me sad or frustrated is I had to kind of put me on the back burner. Um, my husband and I have a trucking business, and that was like the baby. And we had to make sure that we took care of the baby, carried the baby, all kinds of stuff. And then of course, I have a teenager and a preteen. And so they're in the stage of their lives now where it's like, I'm the Uber. Take me here, take me there, take me this, take me that. So, and my responsibility when it comes to that business is to manage everything around the business. So in doing that, I felt like all of the things that I had put in place for my goals in January, I had to kind of put them to the side because that was the thing that was on fire, and always seems to be on fire. But so that was what was frustrating for me. But what I did achieve was I grew my business. I grew our business,
Nice.
We built a lot of relationships, especially there's several months out of the year where uh, sometimes trucking is a little bit slower. And because of the relationships that we built and because we really spent time like cultivating those relationships, we were able to get a lot of opportunities out of those things that we wouldn't have been able to if I hadn't spent time developing those relationships. So that was like really, really good. It was like, what? We're getting this opportunity. What? I can't believe it. So, and it's always good to see something that came from nothing, like from your mind, be productive and income producing.
Mhm.
So that was really good. What would I change? Ooh, what would I change? So the Lord has been dealing with me about doubting him, doubting myself, doubting the plans that he has for me. And so I'm sorry, what would I change? I'm sorry, was wait, no, what was unproductive? Yes. So what was unproductive was doubting myself, doubting my abilities, doubting what God says about myself and about, his plans for me. And then kind of like what Marianne did at the end, I didn't put what I would change. What I put is something that I noticed from January that I would do I would do differently. So what I would do differently is the energy that I had in the first quarter about the things that I wanted to produce out of Kalia, I would keep that same level of energy throughout the year and remind myself not to put me aside for the so-called greater good. So that's what I would do differently, and I'm doing differently in 2023. That's my plan.
Yay.
Sorry for the tears.
Yeah. Oh no, they're real. They're human. I like that. We like that, right? Authenticity. Charmaine?
Okay, so happy. What made me happy this year was being able to spend significant time with both of my girls. Being an empty nester and living on my own in the boonies, I don't often get a chance to see them. So that was really great this year to be able to do that. And then also Jasmine moving back home is an opportunity for her to kind of set herself up to be successful. So I'm happy about that. Also a bit frustrating, but that's neither here nor there. Also in January of 2023, on January 3rd, first working day of 2022, I'm sorry, I started a new job. So I was extremely happy about that. What made me angry, sad, or frustrated was the job that I was so happy about that I took on January 3rd was Oh my gosh, it was so soul crushing. It had imposed these unrealistic expectations of perfection that were completely out of line with my own perspective of work-life balance. And it paid me well, but it cost me enjoyment of life. It cost me peace. What did I achieve? I made peace with returning to the entrepreneurial space of restarting my business. And I did that with a new name and a new focus on the work. What most unproductive was worrying over not being able to support myself and to make a success of my business. That was the most unproductive thing. And what is the one thing I would change? In hindsight, I would definitely not have taken that job on January 3rd.
Okay.
So
Nice.
that's my everything.
Yes. Sameka.
Okay. First of all, I just want to say these are very good questions and are questions that I will be reflecting on throughout this first week. So something that made me smile or made me feel good, I think throughout this year, this was the first time I've actually maybe been in a space and doing an element of work where I was able to see and hear people grow. And what I mean by that is being able to sit in front of people and them having the ability to recognize the challenges that they've overcome. So it's almost like that moment where you get to hear how you've helped, or getting your flowers while you're still alive. But when everything is said and done, I think that allowed me to kind of feel that there's been some element of a natural transition with some things that I'm doing. Because you've seen people in one space and they've moved and moved, and now they're feeling better and they're able to kind of create that distance or grow and just share how it's been helpful. So that made me smile, hearing from people. Something that made me frustrated, and I say my perceived because this is self-perception, but my perceived lack of consistency with some things. That's still something I need to give further thought to. Something that I achieved, I did maintain a certain level of community talks, like mental health presentations, maintain my clients. I believe I was a better steward of my family time this year. And from our last time when we met together last January, after that, that was so helpful that when I came back home, I kind of created like a little accountability group. And so my sisters and I think we've met quarterly for our accountability to see how we're doing, where are we with our business, where are we with personal. And that was really helpful because it didn't allow us to forget about ourselves, our family, and the things that we wanted to do business-wise. So that's an achievement. We like clapped it up. We're like, yay, we're like 1 year old in this space. Something that was unproductive was worry and unnecessary time on social media, even if it's researching endlessly. If I could do anything different, I would be better prepared for things. I think there's some things that I've done, and once I've been in the spaces, I'm like, well, I think I could do this to be better, to be more beneficial. So probably more time and creating more space on my plate for the things that are more important and have more value. That's where I am right now.
Nice, nice. Well, obviously, I've answered these questions before I asked them of you. I know for me, there are so many like you all, but I'll piggyback on most of us. We've realized and been committed to spending time with family. It's been an important thing, and I was able to do more of that. Spending time with myself, self-care, taking more trips, doing those things that I tell my cohorts or students or whoever I'm in front of to do. I actually did it for myself. Like, yes, I like that. I want that. Or wow, I'm going to go ahead and treat myself to this, or yeah, it would be nice to go on that and not just reflect and talk about it, but go ahead and do it. So those things made me smile, and they were achievements as well, because I didn't just think about doing them. I went ahead and did it. And a big part of that was taking care of myself. What made me frustrated, like Marianne, because we live in the same area, the whole Ian experience was sad. It was frustrating at times, even when you did step out to try to do something to help in the community, or to help others that were more grossly affected than myself. It just didn't feel like enough. And if you weren't mindful, you would find yourself, just kind of spiraling down. And so an achievement that came out of that for me was to continue to remind those in front of me that, hey, this is going to pass. You're going to be better. We're going to rebuild. You're going to do better. You know what? Try this. Go ahead and volunteer and do that. I'm doing this. I'm going here. Let's go feed some people. Do this as a project. And so those were achievements not only for me, but for others that would easily stay in that place of frustration. What was unproductive? Same as you all, the time with people who are not necessarily adding value. I think that, there has to be reciprocity, and some of us here are believers in Christ. And, I always refer to that great exchange. He died so that we could live. Somebody's giving something and somebody else is getting something. And so when you end up in those spaces where you're giving, and people are like just pulling and taking all of your time, and there is no reciprocity, it is frustrating and unproductive, right? So I know for me, going forward, one of the changes that I will make is to really minimize and stop that. So I think that covers it for this session. Anyone has anything else to add as we did this first reflection?
I just want to point out that most of us have the same issue, that unproductive is worrying.
Yeah.
I just want to say, I actually have it in my notes. I don't think I said it, but I'm like, it's like such a monster. Like, we need to kill it now.
I love that, Kalia. Kill the monster.
Yeah.
One of the things I'm doing here is just from what everyone is saying, taking out my learnings from the group. And it's just, I think this is a wonderful way of starting. And I know you just said share one thing, but I think because we're such a small group, we were able to share everything. And I think that at the end of the day, that has been the place where I have gotten the most learning, is not just let me just choose my highlight, and just have a highlight reel, but see everybody's everything. And from that, you have the best opportunity to glean. So.
Absolutely. Small groups are where it's at, I think. I know for me anyway, that's my space for sure. So we're going to move forward a little bit and talk about things that we already know, right? In terms of, we talked about the one thing that you will change and the one thing that you will do differently. But I want us to pinpoint that a little bit more by putting some meat to that, right? And what does that mean? That means having some clarity of your vision, your mission, your goals, and your objectives, and then following through with them. So we know what those are. I think that when we get to the narrowing part of this funnel or arrow, or I don't know what I'm calling it yet, I'm still playing around with this whole design. It's these last two parts. It is the action plan and then taking the action that I would like for us to really flesh out and think about, if I were to ask you, any one of you, can you articulate what your vision is? I'm sure that you can. So anybody, what is your vision? What is your vision for your life? If you want to do it that, look at it that way, or your vision for your business, or your vision for your purpose. Can someone share that real quick?
Oddly enough, you remember I told you I did a purpose planning session the other day.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that we were asked to do was come up with our mission statement. Actually, I've had this mission statement that I've had for a long time, and it was all about PR, right?
Right.
And it was, amplifying the voices of people who don't get the media coverage that they deserve, and those kinds of things, the voices and messages. And I'm not saying that that's no longer a part of who I am, which I believe, I know God created me to be a communicator and a relationship building person. But this is the mission statement that I got the other day, was to be the best version of myself in all of my places, according to the power of God that lives and is at work within me, to be a light and a gift, and to be a force multiplier for all God's people.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what my mission statement is now.
Okay. So anyone else has something that they want to share before I add to that? Okay. In terms of vision or mission?
I think for me, I not as eloquently put as Kalia, the communicator. My vision has been for a while being everything that God has called me to be today. Not putting off for tomorrow, being that person, not being a different person because of a circumstance, but being the person I was created to be in all circumstances. And that sounds, I think, fluffy and unfocused as goals go, but it literally is what I want to do, to actually see myself as God sees me.
Okay. That's very good. That's awesome.
I feel that.
So remember, one of the things that I always keep cautioning you about is making sure that you have a clarity about vision and mission and what they both mean. They're both your whys, right? But your vision, which you both just articulated, is creating a picture. That's all it is. This is why I'm doing this whole funnel thing, because each thing narrows it down even more to the point to where it becomes like a pinpoint or target, right? So your vision is your overall picture. You can look at it. You could say 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 50 years from now, I see this picture of me doing this. I see this picture of me being totally immersed in empowering others to be the best person that they can become, right? But my mission can change. And your mission is your to-do, your actual doing, but in a very general sense, right? So I see myself totally immersed in empowering others to be the best person they can be. I am going to be traveling. That's an action I'm going to do classes. I'm going to do trainings. I'm going to do seminars. Those are all to-dos. So do you see the vision and the mission? They're both answering the why or your purpose, but one is very visual, landscapey picture. You're seeing a video of it when I say it, and one it's the action. I'm doing it. I'm taking the action to do it. So what we have to do is try to harness the two. You flush them out, and when I do trainings, I flush them out, write a vision statement, now write a mission statement, so that you can talk about them effortlessly and they still make sense? Like, did you get like a clarity about what it is that Sharon's vision, mission, purpose, her why is when I just spoke? But you also saw the action and the to do, and you got a picture of what Sharon could look like 20 years from now. Yes? Okay. And of course, there's training and workshops and all of that, but we're not this. I wanted us to take it another level up. So I'm not going to go through that too much more, because I want to get you through to the goals and the objectives. I think that young people who are more experienced, people who are older, they all struggle with this setting a goal.
Right.
You know, and really making it targeted. And there are those, I am a SMART goal, what do y'all call it? Partner, advertiser, person, because it's one of those hard things. Once you get it, and you will live it all the time. You're always going to be, whether it's you're setting a goal to be healthy in 2023, you know, it has to have all those things. Healthy, what does that even mean? It doesn't really mean anything. But if I say, you know, in order to be healthy, I will be losing 20 pounds in 2023. That was actually a goal for me. So yeah, that was an achievement. I didn't lose 20, but I did lose 10 in 2022. Yay. I didn't share that. And I, you know, I think I'm going to add another 10 on, but we'll see. Anyways, so what I'm saying is about, as we're setting our goals, and I'm going to ask you to do one. It could be a long-term, a short-term, or an intermediate. I think I'm going to focus for the essence of time on our professional or business goal. And then we'll come back and we'll look at what an action step or what objectives should look like for that goal. All right, so we know that we have to be really specific with our goals. It has to be a measure, a number, or a quantifier in there, right? It has to be something that you have the resources available to you that you can actually do it now or do it within that time frame. It's got to be reasonable in terms of all your experiences that you've had so far as an entrepreneur in your life, and going forward and where you're headed, what that vision says. It can't be like, you know, out of alignment with that. And then absolutely, it's got to have a time stamp, because that takes us, you know, that keeps us grounded in measuring our progress with the goal. So with that, I'm going to say, and I just talked about all of that, can I get a goal from you? Can I get you to take just 2 minutes? I mean, seriously, think about a goal that you want to accomplish. Again, it could be long-term. Long-term, when I say long-term, it's 5, 10, 15, 20 years. When I say intermediate term, it's like 1, 3, or maybe even 5 years. And when I say short term, I'm talking within this next year. That's short term. And you can break it down into quarters if you like, and make it even shorter, like 90 days, yada, yada. But past that 12 months, it's no longer a short-term goal. It becomes intermediate. Am I making sense? Yes, no? All right. So I'm gonna give you all a couple of minutes, really think about, and of course you're gonna have, as you go on the rest of this week, you're gonna have more than a goal, but just wanna give you your blueprint for when you reflect for the rest of the week to make sure we're on this right track. So write a goal down and then we'll share. All right, so let's go ahead and share those goals.
Do you want to voluntold? someone or?
Yeah, go ahead, Charmaine, since you suggested, I will volunteer you. Yes.
Okay. Okay. My goal is a short-term goal. By the close of 2023, to establish the Culinary Curate as a production caterer of choice in the New York, New Jersey film and television production catering space, with at least one contract to cater for an ongoing series or show.
Okay, I heard the measure. So one contract ongoing. How long is it ongoing?
Well, ongoing for the series, whatever it is. So I can't say because it's dictated by the production.
Okay, okay. So by 2023, are you saying by December of 2023, you want to have
By
this?
December 20, right? So my true goal is to establish the company as a caterer of choice. Within that goal, I want to have at least one continuous contract.
Okay.
So the idea is to have, like, for this year, I need to have either a movie or several movies that will make a certain financial mark, but I could do one contract that makes the same thing. So should I put in a financial measure that I want to?
No, because you have your measure, you have that one. Yeah.
Right. I also have the timestamp.
Which is what? That's what I was trying to find out.
Aha. By fall
Fall,
of 2020.
October, November, December, which one?
So by November 2023.
There you go. So make sure that that timestamp is there, because then everything else that comes after that is going to keep that in mind. That as the months go by and you're getting closer to November, you're going to be really agitated to make sure, or you might have achieved it and you can set another timestamp, measure all that.
Okay.
All right. Mac?
Okay, a first easy goal that I have for myself is one, to obtain my supervisor credentialing by first quarter. That would allow me to be an improved supervisor in the area for other newly graduating clinicians. So I should have that obtained by the end of Q1.
Which is what month?
March.
Right.
Right.
There's a thing with that, right? That's why I'm trying to get you to put that date stamp.
By March 31.
March 31,
2023. Mm-hmm.
And your credential is your measure for sure.
Yes.
It's a very specific, and that's reasonable. You have the resources, it's attainable. Awesome.
Yes.
Great. Like it. Okay, Marianne.
I want to add 3 new coaching clients in the first quarter.
Same thing by March 31st.
Mhm.
Okay, so when you say it, when you write it, when you articulate it, make sure you put that timestamp on there. There's something that does it with your mind, and you actually doing it really, it's important.
Okay.
And then Kalia.
So my goal is to create a course or courses based on communications, media, PR, marketing, and coaching. And I want to do it by the end of the second quarter, which is June 30th. And for the courses, I want each student to pay a minimum of $29.99 per course, depending on the duration of the course.
Okay, so how many courses are you creating by when?
So I would like to do a PR, marketing, and media. I can do those easily, pretty quickly.
Okay.
The thing that I have to do to get ready for that, other than creating the course itself, is finding the platform to do it.
That's,
And
I just said, that's right, the goal. You want to create a PR marketing and media course, or 3 of those courses. I don't know what your measure is. That's what I'm trying to find out, number 1, and your timestamp. And then we'll go back and look at all the to-dos that you have to do.
so the timestamp is going to be June 30th to have those 3 primary courses ready.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yay. I like it. So do you see where that's going in terms of how you write a goal or set a goal, right? Because we can go off on a tangent on how many things we want to do and we got to do, and we kind of, but when it's targeted and it follows that principle of you being able to be really, really specific, you have a measure that's really important, because that's how you're going to track your progress, and you have the resources. It's reasonable, that goes along with your already vision and mission, your why, and that time date stamp, very important. Okay. So the thing is, where we get modeled and, stuck is when we have to start to measure our success and our taking action.
Can I ask, are you saying when we try to measure our success, or when we try to establish how to measure our success?
When we try to establish how to measure our successes.
Okay, awesome.
Right. And so how we go about measuring our successes is directly tied to a few things. First of all, and we've talked about that already, your values, your passion, how much of the time and energy you're going to put into the action to achieve these goals. All of that helps us to measure our success, right? And so with that, what I want to say is, you really have to be, just as you saw how I just took you through this whole thing with the goals, you have to be that way with your action plan and your action steps. It's got to be the difference between a goal and your action step, or I call them objectives, is that they've got very, very, very short time span and timelines, and very quick deadlines. So literally, okay, I heard someone, Kali, you said something about your platform. You have to find a platform. Well, what does that require for you to do? When you say you have to find a platform, is it maybe you have to research different types of platforms? Okay, so what does that look like in terms of your timeline and your deadline? Am I going to make sure that an hour 3 times a week is completely dedicated to researching platforms? That's all that you're going to be doing. Because then at the end of the week, you can say, you know what, I spent an hour researching and I found 3 possible, yes, I did it. Or you might have allowed all the other distractions and everything else in your life to come about, and you did not do your research to find your platforms. And now you're here in April and you're like, yeah, I'm supposed to, I'm going to create a course, but you still haven't found your platform. So those objectives and action steps are what leads you to accomplishing your goal. Have I lost anyone, or you're tracking with me? Now, yes, go ahead.
No. Thumbs up.
Okay, so for every goal that you have over a period of time, whether it's a quarter or a month or whatever that short time span you should have at least 3 to 5 objectives going on at a time. So one of them could be, yes, 1 hour every day, on a weekly basis. I'm going to be checking my progress, tracking my, yes, did I research for 3 hours? Or you know what? I totally missed it. I only did 1 hour this week. So now you can jump back on track and say, I need to fix that. Your objectives help you, your action steps help you to stay on track, to leading you to achieving your goal. Another thing that you have to do in order to do your courses, Kalia. So platforms, what else?
I'm gonna have to market my own courses. I have to come up with my own marketing plan.
But you haven't even achieved creating the course yet. So
Oh,
stay
well, I
in
thought
that.
that was understood.
Stay in that vein, because
Okay.
yeah.
So yeah, so it'll be course creation for those 3 courses, those 3 areas, which is PR, marketing, and media.
Mm-hmm.
And then it'll be researching the platform,
Mm-hmm.
and then it'll be coming up with the marketing plan for those for those individual courses.
Okay.
And then probably too, I got to figure out when I'm gonna roll each one of them out. Like they're all not gonna be rolled out at the same time.
Okay, so do you see what's happening? The more you get really dogmatic about what actions do I have to take, you're going to end up finding that you'll have other goals within that. So you have to look at and start to ask and prioritize, what am I doing first? So that you don't get lost in the weeds, because it's very easy to just start, okay, maybe I need to be marketing, but do you even have a course to market yet?
Mhm.
I have a question. Wouldn't like your course content, decision on course content be more, I would say, immediate than, say, even considering what marketing is gonna look like?
Yeah, well, yes, it is. But I figured that was in my mind. I figured that was a obvious. Like you can't market a course if you haven't created one. So that was like an understood. But what I'm hearing that she's saying is that has to be stated and established, because I mean, I know I can't market something that's not there.
Mhm.
Right. So every time you go, okay, well, like I know leadership and communication, I go to sleep with it, right? But
Right.
it's still going to take time for you to, you might not have to create the content, but you have to format it, and the methodology of how it's going to be delivered, and what, all of that is course content. So
Yeah.
here we go again. We still have to come up with a very specific, measurable, attainable, reasonable, time-tested way of putting that together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So can you give me an objective, Charmaine?
So if my goal is to establish the company as, an operator of choice, I'm thinking I need to find the people in the space to whom I must appeal to. I must market, right? So it is creating a list of the production companies, production assistants, and the people who actually hire caterers for motion pictures and television.
So that's like 3 or 4 categories right there, right? And what kind of actions, what are some things that you will have to do to make sure that it's really a well-rounded list?
Find the organizations to whom the production or producers belong, which will give me a list of production titles within the film space, and then and understanding what each of these people do to see how they relate to what I do.
And what kind of time are you going to put into that on a daily, weekly, monthly basis?
29 minutes a day. No,
There- You're probably serious, right?
Yeah.
29 minutes per day. On a daily basis, you are going to spend at least 30 minutes of your day, your 24 hours of looking for these lists for possible
Productions.
production managers. Awesome. That's very, very, focused, specific, short timeline. You can go to bed every night or every other night and go, okay, how many people do I have on this list now? Right? Because it's funny, but it's true. That's really how we have to be if we're going to, because what were we saying? Charmaine and I have been talking. It's one little bite at a time, but it still has to be spelled out. What is this habit? Some people call them habits or tasks or whatever you want to call it, that I'm going to do over a short period of time with a deadline that's going to lead me to achieving my goal. Questions, comments?
So this might be a like a rabbit in the wire type question, but in your mind's eye, how much time should we spend looking at others who are doing the same work that we're doing to get a better understanding of what it is that we want to do, right?
Well, so that's a part of your research, right? So even in that, who is it that you want to look at, right? And then targeting how you're going to do that, how much time are you going to put there? It's all about focusing and your time. We have a whole other talk about that we will not do today, but we don't want to be unproductive anymore. So even if it's one step at a time, one objective at a time, making my lists every day for 30 minutes, what happens over a period of 2 or 3 weeks is that you're going to find that, oh my gosh, I have an extensive list, or oh my goodness, look at how my content is coming together, or oh, I found 2 or 3 people that I can really shadow to find out how they're doing what they're doing. But if you don't look at the funnel and go back to that place of what am I doing with my day or week, then it becomes, more talk. And then 6 months have passed. Marianne, what did you say, Marianne?
Well, you referred to, and we all have been doing this, saying we're unproductive, and we're really not unproductive. I think what we're really saying is we want to be more productive or more effective with our productivity. I don't feel I'm unproductive. I just want to be more.
Be more productive and being
Yeah.
able to measure it, because when you're able to measure your success, focus, that's the word. When you're able to measure it, it gives you fuel. It really does. It gets you more excited. It creates more energy. It gives you fuel for your passion and to keep going.
And I didn't break the task down to timelines. And I think that is so powerful to be able to do that.
So, I'm skipping through because I'm looking at time and I don't want to. As you're making your action steps, right, or your action plans, a couple of things that I would suggest that you want to do is to prioritize your your lists of things. So that time factor is so important throughout that whole achievement process and focus. And maybe I will go there and talk a little bit about what does prioritizing and not procrastinating, what would that look like? When you write these goals down, and I have shared a gajillion worksheets with some of you or most of you, and you have your own. Making an official working document using your Remarkable, or your whatever way you plan, your notebook or your digital way, is so key. I know Charmaine is working on her business plan, right? It's got to be the same thing it's got to be a part of your plan. It's got to be documented. Those timelines, those short timelines and quick deadlines, and goal number one and short-term goal and intermediate, it's got to be documented. Okay. We have to, and I'm speaking to myself too, get out of the habit of it's in my head and I know what it is that I'm doing. And so how we do that documentation, there is a method to that madness. And so what I'm trying to do is give you some of those methods to that madness. Question, comments? Okay. So these are some strategies I think that's going to help us to be successful. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some time to go ahead and the goal that you shared. Remember, I said it should have at least, working consistently. So once you get into that habit of doing that first action, you're doing it well, it kind of, you don't have to pay much attention to it. You can add another objective that is still going to lead you. So for now, in the essence of time, you each wrote or shared a goal, whether it was a long-term or short-term. I'd like to hear, or I'll give you time to write 3 objectives, 3 action steps, 3 that you can do now or start to put in motion. I'll give you all a couple of few minutes to think that through. And I am to pause.
So I'm going to just restate the first action step with its bullets. So the first action step was to find organizations whom to which producers belong in order to get to meet new producers. So spend 29 minutes a day on research doing that on places like IMDb, New Jersey Motion Picture Commission, and the Pano Network, which are organizations that people in that industry belong to. My second strategy point is to send out 10 introductory emails per week to producers whom I discover on each of these spaces. And my third is to ask producers I already know personally for introductions for 3 to 5 other producers within their networks.
And how frequently you're going to be doing that? What time frame? Doing the ask?
The ask, I will do that. That will be an ongoing thing, but each week I will do that.
For how long in your time? Your 24 hours? Or whatever hours you're going to spend on the weekends, 3 hours?
No, I will spend maybe 45 minutes, 44 minutes, for 44 minutes each week.
Oh, nice. Oh, great example. Awesome.
The reason I have to give you the background on the 29 minutes and the 59 minutes and the 44 minutes. One of the things one of my strategist friends told me is that we are really, we have these issues with time that if we say an hour, then it feels more daunting than saying, okay, it's 59 minutes. It's not even an hour. It's 29 minutes. It's not even half an hour that I'm spending, right? It's not even 45 minutes that I'm spending doing this thing. It makes it feel much more attainable to make it less than the maximum time that, that people like to do. So that's why I do it like that.
And it's
That's good.
great. That's a great example that you say that, because I had a flashback about giving my dance classes. It's like I have an hour dance class, but it really is not an hour dance class. It's more like 55 minutes or even 50 minutes. Right. Because you come in, hi, okay, take your positions, and then you have your closing out, your ending. So the actual class itself is really between 50 and 55 minutes. So I like that. You were gonna say, Collier?
No, I love that. It's like, tricking your brain. And I could use that. For me, my first objective is to write my media training course. And my second objective would be to spend 50 minutes researching different platforms.
On a daily basis?
No, a week.
Oh, 50. Okay.
Yeah, 50 minutes in 1 week.
Okay.
And then I will spend 25 minutes looking at what other influencers in that space is doing, what they're doing. I originally had like an hour and 30 minutes, but Instagram changed my mind.
Gotcha. Marianne?
So my action steps are a little more foundational. So one of the things is I have a learning course, but I'm going to offer coaching with it. So I have to develop the landing page for that. So I'm going to spend 3 hours this week developing that landing page for that. And then I have to give it to my web guy. And then I need to start scheduling meetings with prospects and strategic partners. So I'm going to spend at least an hour a week doing that. And then I have a marketing assistant, and I'm going to meet with her because I want to shift what she does for me to be more in alignment with getting clients rather than just having her post for me because I don't have the time to do it. So, and her skill level in getting lead generation is much better than mine. So I want to shift what she does to that. So I'm going to schedule a meeting with her, which will take a matter of minutes to schedule that this week, and then go from there.
And then you'll be doing a training using this kind of platform to show her how to. Awesome, cool. I like. Okay, Sameka.
My objectives were so simple that I just started working on objectives for a longer term goal. Was literally, I just got to identify the training, pay for it, and submit the documentation. So I need to do that ×2. So it turns out I actually do have a goal that I need to meet prior to the end of this month. So that is going to take more immediate precedence, and it falls in that same category. I need time for that. So I'm dedicating 2 hours today, 6 hours on Friday, 10 hours next week to doing what I need to do to have everything done prior to the MLK holiday.
Nice. So I'm hoping this kind of puts you in the mindset, because, this whole exercise takes me to, the whole purple space and time management part of it. We cannot be successful in achieving what we set out to in terms of our goals and our action steps if we are not being very cognizant and being in good relationship with time. right? And so, you all know, you've seen bits and pieces of my training regarding that. Yes. Yeah, I think all of you have in some way, shape, or form. A couple of things that I want to point out to you is, number one, remind you that there is no such thing as multitasking. And I have a whole 20-minute talk on that, but we won't go there. Instead, I'm going to remind you of the glass ball and juggling glass balls. When I give you that image, and I've shown some of you that image of the juggler with these beautiful, colorful, shiny glass balls as he juggles them so expertly. What goes through your mind when you have an image or a visual like that in your mind about someone juggling glass balls? What do you think will happen eventually?
It's gonna break. One's gonna fall and break.
At least one is gonna fall and break. Yeah.
Mhm.
Anything else?
How long? How long will that take?
Oh, yeah.
How long will your natural ability take to really run out? How long will it take for you to get tired? So time.
Mhm. Very good.
And the added like stress of knowing that you have glass balls in your hand, and then the threat of being hurt if they get broken and you step on them. It's too much.
It is. So I'm going to leave you with this thought as you're visualizing these beautiful, pretty glass balls. Each of these glass balls represents your goals in your business. Do you want to do that? So every time you find yourself going, oh yeah, I'm going to do this one. Let me take this note, and just think of those. Think of your precious, beautiful glass balls, which each of them represents something important concerning your entrepreneurial journey, your purpose, your business. Okay. So that's what I'm going to say on multitasking. Anyone has anything additional to add to that? And then the second thing then, as we are strategizing and setting goals and objectives and action plan and managing our time, now we know that we can multitasking. We're going to focus and manage those balls. They're precious. The second thing is procrastination. So let me see, I'm gonna see if I can find some stuff here about procrastination. We want to avoid it. Because it impacts us in such negative ways. We end up a lot of times when we think that we are how could I put it? When you procrastinate, these are some things that, sorry, yes, Marianne's got to go. Happy New Year, happy new day. We're gonna keep in touch. We have some stuff that we gotta talk about. Like, we're next door neighbors, so there is no reason why not.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah. So
Okay.
have a great rest of your day. Good success.
Thank you. Bye, ladies. See you soon.
Okay, bye.
Appointment. So I want to when you avoid procrastination, believe it or not, and you're setting these little timelines and deadlines and quick deadlines, and you're focused, then that fear of failure is going to go away. You're going to be re-energized. You're going to have the energy to do it. You're going to see those little achievements. They're going to energize you. It's going to help you to stay more focused. It's all these benefits to how did you put it, Charmaine, about procrastination? Oh, tomorrow.
Tomorrow's an illusion.
Yeah.
Because just think about it. We're always living in today. We're always living in now. You know, so yeah.
That tomorrow and that other one. What's the other one? I'll try. I'm gonna try.
Yeah,
I'm gonna try to
just
see if
do
I
it.
I'm gonna try to see if I can do it.
Just do it.
All of those
Don't
things
try.
add to that whole procrastination element. So what are some strategies to avoiding procrastination? What are some things that you've tried? Some suggestions you might have, you know?
I will say one thing that I was more intentional with doing this past year was really assessing my capacity. So I didn't have to use okay, I'll try, or I'll figure it out, or I'll work in it, like really just assessing our capacity, because then you won't take on so much that requires you to try to push and squeeze it in and do it here. So that is one thing that comes to mind for me, being clear and assessing capacity.
I think for you also, having that accountability group, having someone else helped you to do that assessment more readily because you had to account to somebody, right? So that accountability piece is a great strategy to help you to avoid procrastination. Something else?
I'll say for me, writing it down. If I write something down and I know that it's on paper somewhere, then it's like my brain automatically says, like, you can't avoid it. Like, you have to go back to it. And also something that I did a couple days ago was that I actually sat down and wrote out the meaning of the word procrastination. And I looked at all the synonyms for the word procrastination, because y'all know I'm a word person. So I wrote out every single word that I could find that is associated with procrastination. And then I wrote out the antonym of procrastination, and I wrote out every single word that is associated with the antonym of procrastination. And it was just such a like a click on for my brain, where it was like, when you operate in procrastination, you're operating in all these negative things, because procrastination is 100% negative. There's nothing about it that's positive. And then when you look at the antonyms of it, are 100% positive. So now I'm telling my brain, focus on the positive instead of looking at what that is. So I've replaced that albatross of procrastination with the positive words, and they're like enlivening, a buzz, overflowing, fulfilled, those are the words, and those are the words that I'm meditating on.
And that's actually a strategy for avoiding procrastination, is to think of what it will look like if I achieve this. Look at that future of accomplishing what it is that you're procrastinating about. You are going to feel enlightened. Oh, I did it. Yay. Right? Another strategy?
Take action now.
And so what does that, what does that look like?
So I you know, you can think about the thing that you need to do, but you need to actually get up. Get up now. Okay, think about what you need to do. Okay, how am I supposed to accomplish this? But at some point, you have to actually get up. When you're fasting, at some point, you actually have to turn down the plate. You actually, if you're going to read a book, you're actually going to have to pick it up at some point. Take action. So what is the action I need to take? Do it now. And sometimes you have to talk yourself into the action. And even that is taking action. You have to talk yourself into it. Because sometimes you just don't feel like it. But just because you don't feel like it isn't a reason to not do it.
Mhm. Great strategy. Another one, I live by it. I use checklists every day, all day.
Mm.
I use checklists and I make my checklists manageable for me. So this is my formula. I share it with everyone. For more people, others, it might be more, but I say anywhere between 7 and 9 things in a day. Every day is my checklist. Some days I am wonderful and I do my 9 things. Some days I do 5. But at the end of the day or the beginning of the next day, that checklist comes up again. And some things might be carried over or I can add new things. It is a very invigorating feeling to look back and go, oh, I did that, check. And I literally, and I learned that from Kalia, I literally put the check marks next to my daily checklist. That's a strategy for avoiding procrastination.
That's a practice that's really difficult for me. I've tried so often over my 61 years. And it's because I am innately not an organized person, or I'm not organized after a fashion of what it looks like to be organized. And I'm not thinking of that as a negative thing. My brain has to really work hard to do something like that. That being said, when I have done it, it has felt good, but it also feels almost limiting for me. But I can see how it works really well for people, especially people who, you know, have like really deliciously organized ways of thinking. Everything, of course, is around food for me. So now if I can think about it, but like food, yeah, I can get it done.
Yeah. And you know, you said a very important word in terms of limits. And when you're avoiding procrastination or you're coming up with strategies, what you're doing is you want to limit the distractions or limit what you want to focus on. That's really what you're doing. And that comes in ways of making lists, or if for you, it's food is it. And that's your limitation right there. Outside of food, I am not going to be distracted. And that's a way for you.
Yeah.
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 I like when you said limit distractions, and it made me think about communication. That's been helpful for me, being in the house with a lot of people. If I communicate to them what I'm doing, sometimes they're more likely to give me that time in that space, so I'm not pulled away because I love them and they're gonna win. They're gonna get my time. They're gonna win. But if I can communicate, they have been a lot better with like respecting that and allowing me to do what I need to do.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I know that in the past we've talked about, you know, having our space, our workspace, our actual space that we're gonna work in or do our research in or do our studying in or look up those lists or whatever it is that we are going to be doing in terms of our action steps and our objectives. Make that space an environment. That's where you're going to do it. Doesn't necessarily have to be in your house in a corner in a room. It could be that the library, it could be a park bench that really works well for you when you see the water while sitting on, whatever that space is, designated as your spot for whatever the task is at hand. That designated space, designated spot does help you. It is a strategy to help you to avoid procrastination. Yeah. And then the last thing, two more things actually. One is, and I've said it already, in terms of a strategy, is bite size.
Manageability.
Make it manageable, and the objectives and the action steps will help you to keep it bite size. So you see how it's all connected, right? And then, of course, Sameka knows this. Well, she's gone through a few of my stuff, but reward yourself. Reward yourself, whether it's per objective, or when you've done, it's become a habit and you've done 5 objectives, or the actual goal, set. And I would make that a part of my documentation. How am I going to reward myself once I've accomplished this? So minimally speaking, maybe in a week, I'm rewarding myself by not only just spending time with the family, but maybe we're going to go out to a movie, dinner in the movie, or, I'm going to go swimming, or whatever it's going to be. That's going to make you feel good about the fact that I've done this, I've done it consistently, I've stayed focused, I've achieved it, and set those times, the when and the how you're going to celebrate and reward yourself, whatever that system is. So I'm going to stop there, because you know that this is like, I'm in the zone when I do this. I can just keep on going and just, taking us through activities and actually write your whole business plan and plan for the year, and just do this all day long with you. But that's my perfect world. I just wanted to, take some time. I said I would from a couple of years ago, just take the time to share with you what I've been doing for many decades now, which is to stop, reflect, think, write some goals down, share the process, hopefully ignite you, encourage you, let you know that even when you don't see me, I'm praying for you, I'm cheering you on, or I don't speak to you, each of you here, and the group is larger, as you come to mind, I really do. I'm like, oh, now I know Sameka is going into a new space in the nonprofit, it's like, I'll be praying and thinking of you and going, woo-hoo, you go.
Congratulations.
Yeah. And Miss,
Thank you.
Congrats, Sameka. Why?
yeah, I'm doing food. I am doing food. I mean, whenever we've known each other for what, 4 decades now? Maybe longer. Yeah, 4 decades.
Yep.
Food is your passion, girl. Food is your passion.
Indeed.
So now you're doing it. You're doing it, no looking back. And that's huge.
I'm remembering the days of coming over to your house. You go, there's nothing in the fridge, cook something.
I literally was
Make a
thinking
gourmet
about
meal
that
out
just
of
now.
nothing.
For
Yeah.
real. I remember, I will never forget when we lived in Brooklyn, story time. When we lived in Brooklyn, and Charmaine came over one time, and it was one of those, we ain't got no food in the house. And I don't know where she found broccoli from. I don't know where she found green peppers and red peppers and yellow peppers and peanut butter.
Peanut butter.
This woman made a banging pasta. And the funny thing is, I ate it that time and it was so delicious, and I've never had it again since.
Because we don't know how to duplicate it.
We don't even know what it is. It was like mystery meat. Like, we
Yeah,
don't
it
know what
was
it
peanut sauce.
is. It was so
Delicious.
good. It was so good. I had to have been like maybe 11.
Mm.
And I
Yeah, we were eating
remember that thing.
banging Asian cuisine in your house in Brooklyn.
Ooh. So when I tell you this woman can cook and she could cook out of thin air, that's a
Absolutely.
gift.
Yes, yes.
So yes, I'm happy that you're moving into your passion space,
Yeah,
because you
Mhm.
were created to bring people joy with food and your voice.
yes.
And I think it's just so admirable, to when you can see that your partner, and I'm talking about Kali, your partner for life, has a dream, and you can say, okay, I'm going to be your wherewithal to get this started and get this moving. And it's moving and it's wonderful and it's a success. Oh my God. No, I'm praying. Yeah.
Um,
And the growth and the experience that you've had last year in doing that and the growing pains, that's all a part of your purpose in doing what you do and doing your passion. And you will see it come to light in 2023, how it's all connected.
Yeah, because right now they look like they're going in different directions.
They are connected.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but thank you for that.
Yeah, but one of the things you started with, Sharon, is saying that a vision is this holistic view, the big picture of what you see your life to be.
Mhm.
But the mission are these smaller steps, but a mission can be multidimensional.
Correct.
And there are multiple missions within a vision and within a life. And so each of those things is informing the greater picture.
Mhm.
Each of those things is a part of this whole person that you're created to be. You're not a communicator. You are a child of God. And child of God says, here are all these things that are part of the whole landscape of things that I have created you to do and to be. And you are being 100% authentic in each one of these spaces, because that's who you are. I say all the time, I've lived many lives. No, I'm living one life with multiple points of connection to God's people.
Ooh, that's good.
You
Where's the
can't
text to give?
You really can't. It's awesome. You can't beat yourself up because it's once you get that vision part, and that's why I guess I do so much teaching and training on that. When you see and you can really own that purpose driven life, that thing that you're here for, once you have that part, the mission, as Charmaine says, there's going to be many.
Yeah.
It's all still undergirding the full picture, the picture.
Yeah. I literally had a conversation with my aunt the other day, because I was like, man, my vision was like the PR business is going to be like this and it's going to be like that and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I feel like that thing was like I didn't put the attention into it this past year as I should have. And she said, but Kalia, look at how you've been so successful in all these other areas of your life. And because you're focused on the thing that hasn't given you the satisfaction that you've wanted, then you don't pay attention. It's not that you don't pay attention to all the other successes and blessings that you've had in other areas of your life. And actually, when she said it to me, I was like, wow, yeah, I really did have success in these other spaces in my life. But I completely agree with you. Sometimes you just gotta, be grateful for the things that you've achieved and use that as a springboard for the other things that you want to achieve.
And also understand that sometimes the thing that you're doing is not a springboard to anything except for the thing that you're doing. Just be here.
Yeah.
Be right here, right now. See me right now for who I am, what I am. See
Mhm.
this thing for what it is. Don't expect anything else from it except what you're getting right now.
Mm.
Yeah. That's a new year, a message if I ever heard one. It
Mhm.
reminds me of a thing I did. I probably shouldn't have put a date on there. I think I did it in 2018, and I was like, for 2018, this is what you need to do, and it's on YouTube somewhere. But it's, be grateful for all that stuff in the past, that whether it was good or bad, or you see it as that, or because that's what's giving you what you need and preparing you for the now. And when you're in the now, that's that big word everybody's using, focus. That's your focus right now, in that, experiencing that, being all that you can be in that moment, in the present, right here, right now, as you are anticipating the plan, the great plan that God has for you, for us.
Mhm.
Yep. Be where you are.
Yeah.
I think
So-
often we go places and we're just there physically.
Mhm.
We're not emotionally connected. We're not mentally engaged. We're not spiritually there. We're just physically there.
No, I can't. No, I need you to be there 100%. I need to be there 100% because I'm
Yeah.
robbing myself. You're robbing everyone. Why then? What's the point? Right?
Mhm.
So awesome.
So good
Next,
stuff.
final words, and we're out.
Listen, I'm over here taking all of Aunt Charmaine's nuggets, like, yes, because you're talking to me. I see all the things that's gonna be the reminders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was good. I mean, it was on time. I thank you for extending the invitation and continuing to do something that is very important to you, but also that could be a blessing to other people. Because whether you know it or not, even if, I know I haven't shown up to like some of the quarterly things, but it's still planted a seed. It still planted a seed and gave me a foundation. Okay, Sameka, like this is, and I could always go back to the calendar you gave us. So I go back. I've gone back several times, and I have 4 more calendars. So remarkable maybe for me, but it gave me a point of reference, and it's doing that again, and it's only helped me grow. So in the spaces where I feel like I'm pouring back, this is a space in which I feel I'm being poured into, and it's really helpful. And it's going to give me some good places to start for these new days. So thank you for all your support and love and prayers. 'Cause I
Yeah.
still need them.
Welcome. You're
I
welcome.
still need them. I love to be where you are. And
Yes.
don't expect anything from this, and except what you're doing and what you're getting right now.
Mhm.
So last year was a lot of learns, and I'm really excited for this new year or new day.
Yes. So Happy New Year. Happy New
Yeah.
Year.
Chow time.
Happy New Year.
Time to eat.
I know, right? Well, it's time to eat for y'all. Yeah.
Yeah. 12:39. Happy New Day. 12:29.
Are you cooking?
No, girl, I'm gonna go find a fab new restaurant up here.
Okay.